Hello, welcome to the Gab Juls show. Again, Gab Marcotti is still away. So look who's that came down
back.
from Manchester again.
I'm
Nedum
back.
Onuoha.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for being back.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure, sir.
Thank you. We've got loads to talk about. We've got Arsenal who played against Brentford on New Year's Day. That was the only game here in the UK. We've got a bit of transfer news. We've got a Dani Olmo update. We've got loads of things going on everywhere in Europe. But we wanted to start with the Brentford Arsenal game because it was, as I said, the only one on New Year's Day here in the UK to finish that game week in the Premier League. And for Arsenal to go away to the most informed team at home with Liverpool, which was Brentford, going into that game, was never going to be easy. How did you assess that game?
It's a good question. I think for the way the game started, Arsenal were getting into their rhythm. They were moving the ball well. But then, like, anyone who's watched Brentford knows that, like, they've got the ability to hit you on the break.
Yeah.
They have that. And the best home record, joint best home record in the league, is not something that many of us anticipated would be saying about Brentford. But you could see it because all of a sudden it's 1-0. And, you know, there was that moment as well for David Raya where the ball went through his hands. And in fairness, he reacted well to go and deal with it. But you wonder, like, how is this game going to look? Because it's not going to feature Brentford having tons of possession.
No.
But in Vissa and Mbemo, like, they've got so many players who can actually go and take it to you.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I suppose looking as the game is done, it ends up feeling like a comfortable game for Arsenal, which is credit to them because it didn't look perfect. But the substance is there. And I feel like Arsenal, for me, they're very much a substance team at this moment in time. Whereas, say, Liverpool have got the substance and the style.
Yeah, I agree.
For Arsenal, they have the ability to go around and just win games. And do you know what it kind of reminds me of? It reminds me a bit of like a Jose Mourinho Chelsea. Like
I see what you mean.
From when, not necessarily in terms of, say, flair or whatever, but if they're winning, they've won.
Yeah.
That's the feeling that I have right now. But the way they get that isn't necessarily something that terrifies you, but they just find ways, you know, that's credit to a good team.
Yeah, and the way they responded to that goal, that Mbemo goal after 13 minutes, where they had all of the ball and then one counter. And clearly, I think Brentford were trying to isolate Mbemo against Calafiori, who hadn't played for a little bit, was injured. And he does him on that goal coming inside, which I think we all could see coming, maybe.
Do you know what hurt me a little bit on that goal? Because as it was happening, so as I watch the game, and it's probably the same for you, I don't just look at the ball. I've got to look around everywhere to kind of see what's going on. And I thought Gabriel could have come out sooner.
I agree.
Gabriel spent some time looking to see something else going on. And all of a sudden, it's like, is Calafiori really 1v1 on the corner of the box like this without support when he could have done it?
Yeah, definitely.
When it comes out too late. And obviously, the goal's the goal, but it's a valid point.
But it's the way they responded after that to go a goal down over there. Where I know they only played, you know, they will have City and Liverpool coming in January at the GTEX, the GTEX. So far they've had a great home record because they've also haven't played yet the top teams really. But the way Arsenal responded, how good they were in controlling the game. I think there's only one whistle shot in the second half for Brentford, and that's it. When Brentford were chasing the game, trying to get back into the game, and Arsenal didn't give them anything. I thought Partey was great. I thought defensively, outside of the goal, they were really, really solid. And then where I loved your point is that they were so efficient and clinical in what they've been doing well. So the flow is not there because there's no Saka. Odegaard doesn't look like the same. Havertz was ill. There was a bit of a bug within the camp. So they were not maybe 100%. But I thought they responded and did their job really, really well by controlling everything. And I thought that was impressive.
Yeah, I would totally agree. And, you know, not every game is going to be your best game, but still you can get the result itself. Yeah. And I think as well as I looked at Arsenal, just look big and physical, you know.
Yeah, they are.
Like, just brutes. So there were times when, for example, Mbemo was thinking, I'm going to go and try and find a way to do this now, but Calafiori was there. And then next thing, like, Gabriel was there. Ball goes up to Wissa. And you've got Partey in the midfield who's right next to him alongside, you know, a Saliba. Like, they're a big, strong side. Yeah. And I think as I look at teams trying to play against that, I don't know what the best formula is to be able to, you know, sort of put them under pressure as such. Because as well, to give them credit, to give Arteta credit, they're very well drilled. They understand what they're supposed to do. They understand that within any game of football, it's not always going to be the nicest football, but it has to be a winning style of football. Yeah. So, I don't know. I feel like right now, they are the second best team in the league. They're very much deserved of being there. But just because for Liverpool, I think Liverpool have those traits in terms of being big and physical, but I feel like in attack, they're a bit more fluid. I think for Arsenal, they obviously get chances and stuff from set pieces, and they create a little bit, but probably not as much as, say, you'd like to see.
Definitely.
You know, because if there's a day where you come up against a side that are very good from set pieces as well, defensively, then what do you have next? I think this is where the Saka thing comes in.
Absolutely.
But, I think we're probably going to talk about Nwaneri as well.
Yeah.
Because that's somebody who could potentially be breaking down a few
Potentially. So you think they are the second best team in the country
That's how
right
it feels
now?
to me, yeah.
They are 2 points clear of Forest, who are Arsenal are second, 6 points behind Liverpool, who have a game in hand, away at Everton. Then Arsenal 2 points clear of Forest in third, and 4 of Chelsea in fourth.
Yes.
Can only Arsenal really try to compete with Liverpool? I mean, I think we both agree that there's a possibility where Liverpool win this title with 15 points clear by April.
It's a real possibility, yeah.
But if there's one team that can maybe try to catch up and bridge that gap, it would be Arsenal?
Yeah, I think so. I think from looking at them, obviously Saka being out is a big blow.
Yeah, massive.
It's a big, big blow. But they've got enough players available who can, find ways to win games of football. I don't think they need to be at their absolute best to win games.
Yeah.
Obviously, they fell out of form a little bit not too long ago, which is why the gap to Liverpool is potentially as big as it is. But say this run that Liverpool are on now, if Liverpool played Arsenal next week, it's not guaranteed Liverpool would win, because I think that shows credit to Arsenal for finding ways to be able to do things. If that wasn't the case, then I'd say it's just Liverpool and it's clear. I think Arsenal good enough to win, say, 4, 5, 6 games in a row. It might not suit your eye. It may make you upset that maybe some of the goals come from set pieces. But which other team can do that? I think we've seen some of the flaws within Chelsea in the last couple of weeks. The flaws which Maresca, in fairness, was discussing.
Yeah, that's why I didn't think they were.
Exactly.
Candidates.
And then as you look at Forest, you'd very much make the case that they're overperforming.
Yeah,
very much make that case.
I think we can say.
And they're acutely aware of that. And they may be 1 or 2 injuries away from an implosion. Whereas I think as I look at Arsenal, you're bringing Rice off the bench. You're bringing Trossard off the bench. You've got other players to come back in as well. Ben White's come back in in the next few weeks as well. So I think they're the second best. If Liverpool do slip off, I think Arsenal can catch them.
Yeah.
But I think from when Liverpool get back on the horse, I'd be very surprised.
No, and I think you're making a good point. It's 12 unbeaten now for Arsenal. 9 wins in those 12.
But does it feel like it?
It feels like it simply because you're right. The style is not there. The substance is there, which maybe between the two, I would always go for the substance more than the style. Right? If you can have both like Liverpool and Slot, great. Yeah. Treat yourself.
Yeah.
But if you pick one of the two, I would go for the substance. And even if sometimes it means grinding out results, you do it. This is start of January. They've played a lot of games. There's another one this weekend before the FA Cup break. They will have the League Cup semi-final the following week against Newcastle, first leg. So all of that is happening. So to go to Brentford and get those 3 points in that way, I think it was massive. Yeah. So we talked about the goals and how the goals come and everything. Gabriel Jesus has been pretty good, to be fair, since he came back into the team. I think this is 6 goals now in his last 4 in the competition. He scored 3 in 3 in the league. There was the one in the League Cup against Palace. Personally, I'm glad to see him. I just want people to be. I want people to be happy. Anyway, and I think he was very unhappy for a long time, not playing much, and when he was playing, just things not happening for him. I'm glad to see him playing that way. At Brentford on Wednesday, I thought he was very good all around. He scored a goal that is a proper number 9 goal in the sense that on the rebound, etc. But I thought he held the ball up well. He was just what Arteta wants him to be. Is he good enough for Arsenal now at this level to take them further and compete with Liverpool, him and Havertz?
What's this level he's into, like win a league title?
Like being important enough and decisive enough between now and the end of the season to help this team win something or go as high as they can. Or you still feel like they're short of something?
I personally don't feel like they're short.
Me neither.
Because we've seen them go on long runs where, say, they win a ton of games. You've seen them, I think it was 2 seasons ago when they got to 50 points at the 19-game mark. Which is something Liverpool, who've been good this year, can't do, by the way.
Yeah.
So I think he's good enough. And to be honest, I liked him when he was at City as well. I think he wasn't necessarily starting every game because of one Sergio Aguero, but I thought his impact was very much there. Don't think himself and others, if you would have taken him out of that City squad back then, I don't think they win the league titles in the way that they do. But I don't know, it's an interesting one because we're always getting this position now. Well, in fact, it feels like every year around this exact time, there's somebody in the media that says, but they need a number 9.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so what does that mean? Because say, for example, at the moment, like he's out of form. So like an Erling Haaland is a number 9. And now they're also making the critique that he's out of form and he doesn't offer anything else to the team apart from goals.
Yeah.
So which one do you want? Which argument point do you want? So I think he's good enough. I think he's experienced enough. I think he can be what they need to be. And I think the key point here of what you said is the fact that he's in form.
Yeah.
Gabriel Jesus in form can help Arsenal in a million different ways. Whether it's scoring a goal, like you said yesterday, which was like a really good 9 to finish because he's following in on the shot.
Yeah.
Even to know to head it straight away, that's really sharp. Some of his link plays there, his work rate's there.
Definitely.
So what more do you want from him? I think at times people just want to see someone score 30 goals, whatever, score 40 goals, but sometimes that's not what you need. I think if he can help his team out, I think there's a reason why Arteta plays him. But now the balance is like, who does he play instead of?
Yeah.
You know, will he be able to play centrally or does he want Havertz? You know, does he want to put him out wide? Because if you've put Gabriel Jesus out wide, the impact is different. It'll work hard.
Definitely.
But you missed the goal, so I'm not sure. What do you think?
So I think Havertz was ill
Yeah.
on Wednesday, so could not be there. I think there are games where Arteta is thinking I can have a front four almost of, let's say, Trossard, Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, and Havertz, who comes from midfield, where initially he was signed for. He was signed to be the Granit Xhaka replacement, and they thought they can mold him into this kind of 8-10 second striker kind of player. Didn't really work out. Did much better as a 9, albeit a different 9 to Erling Haaland or Oli Watkins or Isak or whatever. So you can play them both together, or you play Havertz and Gabriel Jesus can become, now that he's back in form, an impact sub that can be, I think, very interesting for you. That maybe, apart from Trossard, who will still come from wide areas you didn't really have before in your squad. So you're 1-0 down at Brighton, or it's 1-1 with 15 or 20 minutes to go on Saturday at the weekend, and Gabriel Jesus is on your bench. You know that you can bring him on and he will have the confidence and the belief that he can impact the game over 20, 25 minutes, which you didn't really have before. So I like that. I think he's a good player. I think he's a confidence player, like a lot of them. Obviously, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but I think it is. And with that kind of form and that momentum, I would find it difficult to take him out of the team too.
Yeah, what do you think about this? So when it comes down to, say, the second half of the season, everyone's revising their picks and someone is saying, like, this guy, they need a number 9 or whatever. When they say they need a number 9, what do they mean? Do they mean they need someone to score like 15 goals between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, I think the narrative felt very much like they create a lot of chances, which they don't so much this season. I think the XG that they have and the goals they've scored are pretty much equal. So it's not like they have all those chances and nobody's there to take them. Bring a proper finisher, a number 9, and then he will finish those chances, because it's not that simple.
I remember last year, it was around this time, they lost away at Fulham. And then they went away to Dubai. And there was the video of Arteta being fed steak by Salt Bay, if you remember that.
Yeah.
And I thought this would be like great content for the rest of the season. But then they went on a run where they basically went unbeaten for like 2-3 months. And in that time, people were talking about them needing a 9. There was talk of Ivan Toney, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I was always thinking, you probably need your better players to be more efficient with their finishing, which they're capable of doing.
Yeah, definitely.
And they found that. And in the second half of the season, Havertz starts scoring more, Saka's scoring again. You know, all these other players are doing what they're doing. And I think Gabriel Jesus, as an efficient finisher, alongside others within that team, I don't think they need more. I think they just need to just be good at the right time. As I look back at last season as well, I think one of the big reasons Man City won the league is because of that weekend where Liverpool lost at home and Arsenal lost at home to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
That one weekend went from where City beat, I think, City beat Luton on the Saturday and they were top. But if Arsenal and Liverpool would have won that weekend, City would have been in third. And if all the 3 teams won out, which they all did, you know, City would have been third.
Yeah.
In this moment, I think it's just a case of efficiency, managing those big games, understanding like they've got the cups coming up and all this stuff. They've got Champions League, which they're all pushing for as well. And I'd rather have players who are experienced who can do that, as opposed to somebody who goes within the team and might be a slightly more efficient finisher, but offers less to the team.
I agree.
So
and
I'm a fan
we discussed it a lot last year. I think what Arteta wants, and we might agree or disagree with what Arteta wants as a number 9, his number 9 to do, but I think he wants a number 9 that just is a big part of what he does collectively within that team.
You need it.
Not just in the box.
100%.
And I think for that, okay, you might fancy, I don't know, Isak, for example, who I think can do everything because he's that good, which would cost you 100 million, which I don't think Arsenal can afford right now anyway. So you also use Havertz and Gabriel Jesus in the best way possible, like they're doing now, and just hope that's enough. But if they could have the front 6 that Liverpool have, and all the different options between Jota and Darwin and Diaz and Gakpo and Salah, then he would take it. But right now, he doesn't have that.
I think if you're somebody, in my opinion, that says that Arsenal don't have a squad good enough to win the league, I'd be like, well, you're missing the point, because they've got a squad good enough to be able to beat every team in this league.
Yeah, and
And they
Arteta
have
said
done.
something interesting yesterday. He said it's also all about sharing the goals for us,
Yeah.
which I think they've done in the last 2 seasons where they went close and pushed City pretty much all the way. And I think if you can get one striker that scored you 40 goals and then have a couple of guys with 5, great, that's 50.
Yeah.
But you could also have 4 of them who share 12 goals each and you get to
100%.
52.
I think people, and maybe it's a UK thing, or maybe to be fair, maybe it's world football, but people are obsessed about number 9 scoring 30 goals and thinking
Yeah,
it's going to
they
be
love
success
that.
from it. But then as I think of that, in my time, I remember Harry Kane, the Spurs who weren't winning league titles.
Yeah.
And I also remember the fact that in all the years that he played in England, I think Sergio Aguero was top scorer in the league once.
Yeah.
And they used to score 100 goals a season. So clearly there's
Yeah,
something
I
about
agree.
sharing it out.
You mentioned Ethan Nwaneri already a little bit. 17-year-old, he would turn 18 in March. His first Premier League start of the season on that right-hand side where Saka usually plays. Martinelli played there against Ipswich, didn't really work out. He moved him back to the left and he was far more efficient. I think when you have your bearings and your habits in one position, I think it's hard maybe to just move away. And we said that after the Ipswich game too. Ranieri looks a baller. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
Technically,
solid,
the
yeah.
left foot is clearly very, very good technically. I'm not sure this is his best position. I'm wide on the right like this.
How about if it was off the right as opposed to out wide, to say somebody that
Yeah.
would drift inside?
So, like the other guard position for me is where Ethan would be at his best.
Yeah.
And yesterday you saw it a couple of times where he was there on the right, but played it backwards again because he could take people one-on-one, but I think his game is more in small spaces, would make a difference like that. But has Arteta found for you the right formula to replace Saka? Or do you expect Ethan Nwaneri not to start against Brighton on Saturday?
Ooh, really good question. I think firstly I would say young players starting lots of games back to back is always a bit of a risk
Yeah.
anyway. So knowing the right time to put them in, the right time to take them out, because their careers don't start and end now. This is just the beginning.
Yeah.
You can try and drip feed them in as such. But I think they've got experience on that side, and it's not Saka. It'll never be Saka, whoever's going to be there, whether you put Jesus out there, you put Trossard, whether you put Martinelli again. But I think it's a nice option to have. And I think it's a nice option to have in a game whereby you're going to have tons of possession,
Yeah.
and he can be higher and move in and around whenever he needs to be. I think if it's more of like a sort of aggressive end-to-end game as such, and they don't have as much control, maybe I'd put someone in there that's probably more experienced.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, in the games like yesterday, Brentford are obviously good, but they're better on the counter. So you will have tons of times to be in their half, to settle in and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
So, like for Ethan, we look back at his game yesterday, and even though he did some good defensive actions, you remember all his attacking things.
Yeah.
There are plenty of games where you need to do the other side as well
True.
as a priority. So I don't think he's necessarily the answer. I think it's a nice look to have because his quality, like when he was being spoken about at the start of the season, I was having to speak about him and stuff, but I didn't really know the backstory. I didn't know he was basically 17 years old because he
Yeah.
looks like he's about 25.
Yeah, he is.
But that's an incredibly talented teenager. Like tactically, he looks like he understands what needs to be done. Some of the link-up play and his desire to have an impact, like top. Like to have that at 17,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
top.
it
Jules,
is,
he's
it
a
is.
baller.
It is.
So
it is.
I think it's an option for Arteta. And in fairness, Arteta likes to use those options. So I wouldn't expect him to start the next game, but he's definitely not going to be shy of putting him into the team, I don't think.
So, for example, let's say Stupinan plays at left back, who is a very attacking left back for Brighton. You would want somebody who would cover defensively more because he's done it before, like let's say Gabriel Jesus for the sake of it.
Yeah. Not necessarily. I think at times with football, like the lesser teams, and these are some of the teams that I've played for, you spend more time worrying about what to do defensively than what you do in attack.
Yeah.
And then you end up being in a position where you don't know how to break a team down because you're focusing too much on the other side of things. And there are teams, for example, like Liverpool, where how often do you see Salah defending? It's not very often.
No, that's true.
But you need the structure behind it. So if, say, Partey, for example, has to play right back, then maybe you play Rice on that side as well to sort of overcompensate from that part.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But then the right side might have its issues as well. But I think I just want somebody who would understand tactically what Brighton tried to do because it is a bit different to the norm. So that's why I'd probably lean towards somebody that's more experienced. It's not to say that it'll definitely stop them, but I'll have a different understanding of it. But then in the same breath, like if you think you're going to have 60% possession, possibly more, Nwaneri is a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
No
I agree.
brainer.
And I think there were some Arsenal fans who were a little bit disappointed that when Odegaard was out for those 2.5 months, that Nwaneri didn't get the chance to replace him in that team and get a bit more game time than what he did. But maybe Arteta didn't feel he was ready for that kind of, also the pressure. Look, he's coming and replacing the captain and the playmaker of this team, which is a lot to take. I'm not saying that replacing Bukayo Saka is okay and there's no pressure, because I think there was pressure. But yesterday, I never thought he would start him in a game like this.
Yeah.
Where the best team at home in the league.
Yeah.
Very physical team. Although, if you think about it, it's a game where I think Arteta knew he would get 65% of the ball. That against Ranieri was Lewis Potter, who is I love him. I think he's a lovely, lovely young player. But he's his size, and it's not like if he had, I don't know, like let's say Collins playing, and then the battle would have turned very physical. It was not like that. So maybe Arteta think, you know what, this is the right time to start him, give him the opportunity. He said he deserved the chance, which I think he did, and then see how he does. And you could always have brought on a Trossard or changed something at some point in the game. But the fact that he kept Ranieri on for so long, I think showed how happy he was with his performance. And you're right, at 17, okay, almost 18, but still at 17, it's really impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. For
Brentford, just quickly to finish, we said they will have tougher games at home now. City and Liverpool are coming very soon. This was what we expected from them. It was just not enough.
Brentford are a really strange team. So they've got the best home record, but they have either the worst or joint worst away record,
only
don't
two
they?
draws away from home.
Yeah, and you can kind of see it because, say, in the game against Arsenal, they're defensive, and then it's just like full speed, high energy, try and go and break and so on. But I think at times perhaps they do overcommit with that, and they can get caught the other way. And I think as they're going to be playing against, you say, Liverpool and City in the coming weeks.
Yeah, in 2 weeks or something.
The game against City is like doable for them because City aren't in the best moment.
Yeah.
You know, they're not in the best form, and City will try and control the game there, but they don't necessarily have the speed nor size to be able to deal with the players like Arsenal did yesterday. But that suits them. You know, these games against Arsenal, against Liverpool, against City, like they're not expected to win. You know, they can have even less of the ball than say they used to, and they're kind of like, okay, this is fine, but they know that they can have a moment because I think a lot of people, not to speak for everyone, but when Mbeumo scored yesterday, I was thinking, are they going to win this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, but you're like, are they going to do it? Is this a thing? Because they didn't need to change how they played once they took the lead. If they're behind, it's a different story. And I think you saw more so in the second half when they had slightly more of the ball. Like, what could they create with it?
You said one shot. That's it.
One shot. So I think Brentford they're a good Premier League side. I don't think they're a great one. I think this home record is like insane, but then it's come at the cost of the away record as well. Absolutely. It's almost like they're two different teams. So I think in the end, City and Liverpool probably beat them, and City and Liverpool probably have to suffer for little bits. When it comes down to quality, like they should find ways to beat Brentford whether it's at home or away.